This is Matt Garrett with GM Classics, and this is my 95 ZR1. This is car number 169. It is a black red car, has a red interior, so it's one of 6 of these cars that were made. And that's the GM statistics on it, so that's a factual number. And this is also a AL done car, meaning it has the later heads or the more desired heads, and it's on both banks, not a one head car. It's got both AL done heads on it, and that's verified. I've got all the pictures of it. So this car has a little bit under, right at 2,000 miles on it. It is a car bought brand new, like many of these, and just put away. And it has everything original down to the tires. When I got it, it was basically set for many years and had the ethanol issues, and so we had to change the pump in the tank. But other than that, everything is day one original. The car runs perfect. This is just an undercarriage, so you can see that first before there's any real video on the car. I'll have that later. But and so some of the things that you see on these cars that are typical up under here, it's just perfect. In fact, this whole car is one of the nicest one of these you will ever run into on the undercarriage, or any part of it anyway. It's a screaming level 1 car that could be put up on stands and put into a show like the Autorama tomorrow. So it's not just an old car sitting around, laying around, left to die. It's been kept very well. And you can see the FX3 Bilsteins are nice and clean. All, you know, the tags you see on everything are there. There's not a tag on this car that I could find missing anywhere that just fell off from time or heat or anything like that. Of course, you know, the original mufflers, perfect. All 4 GSCs are original date coded. You can still see the ink marks in there. Get it from a better shot from back here. See the big 315 tires on these things. Still big for even today. Heck of a car these things are. And this is neat, where you can see this car, how it transitions from this body part to this green area, and that's the way they're supposed to be. You see a lot of these cars that are just really dirty or been painted, or somebody undercoated this, and you don't really get to see that. So this car is a good indication of what one should look like. And one of the things that's kind of a telltale to this is the big catalytic converters, which still have the barcode sticker on them, which burns off usually, I don't know, probably within the first month of the car if you drove it, but they're still there. And back to the brakes. And those are, you know, ZR1 brakes, which are 13-inch, I believe, bigger ones, which would be a Z51 brake on some of the later regular Vettes, which is nice. And then the FX3 shocks. And here's another spot where you see these things always scraped up, and this car really has none, and it's been put on a truck a couple of times. And of course, this is your power steering cooler system, which your hot rodder versions of the cars, which would be a Z51 package, C4, or of course a ZR1, it's all standard on that. And you usually see these coils bent up, and perfect. And then you really get to see that is where you get into here. Usually these things are bugged up or bent up. This is your air conditioning condenser, and it's just perfect as you can get. And that's factory stuff there. Outside air sensor, and then like your air dam, which of course always, if these cars get moved around a lot on trucks, they'll get scraped, but this car's really good, so perfect. Of course, ZR1 sway bars, which is a shared to a Z51 car, front and back. Some of the special things on a ZR1 that you don't see on a regular C4, of course, would be the exhaust system on this car is different. It's bigger, and that's a resonator there, and these are your catalytic converters. And so, if it was an LT1 car, it would have these in a centerpiece, or a L98 car, it would have two pre-cats and a center cat. And of course, this is your ZF 6-speed transmission, which is somewhat shared by the 6-speed versions of your C4s, but the ZR1's a little bit different transmission, has a different input shaft on it, so it is not going to trade out to another car. It's a ZR1 specific transmission, and they're very, very expensive to get and hard to rebuild. So what else is something unique? Of course, the back of the cars are wider on the ZR1, but that does not pertain to the suspension. The suspension is the same as a C4 manual transmission cars. It's the bodies that are wider, and of course the offset of these wheels, which will protrude out more this way, and the bodies are of course built to handle this. And this is what they call, I guess, the A-mold wheel, the 5-spoke, and the factory. There's a lot of aftermarket ones of these, but they're actually made in Japan, and that's the way they were. Of course, the ZR1 has the bigger differential, which is also in the manual transmission, 4+3 and ZF cars, which is, this is called the Dana 44, but the ZR1 uses a 345 gear in that, and it's only specific to the ZR1, and the gears are hardened a little bit harder in the ZR1 than they would be in a, for example, a 95 6-speed LT1 car. So that's something that's a little bit different on a ZR1. Of course, the power plant is the big one. It's LT5 oil pan, big jammo that holds about 12 quarts, including the oil cooler. And of course, you got the oil cooler system in this car, which is a big piece in there too. And it's sandwiched between, well, it's hard to see from down here, I have to see it from up top. It's sandwiched between the evaporator, excuse me, the condenser and the radiator. And that's your ZR1 thermostat there. And of course, the Z51 cars have a quicker rack. They have different rate springs. They have the bigger brakes, bigger sway bars, different rate FX3 shocks. If you had the FX3 option, the FX3 has the actuator on top, which give it the 3-mode setting, sport, tour, and performance. And that could be had in your other cars also. But this ZR1 shock actually has a different part number to it. Or the Z51 shock has a different part number to it, because you could have a FX3 on a Z52 car. So, what else we got? It's really all I can think of. Just go underneath this thing, other than the condition, which is just phenomenally nice. And this is what everyone should look like that's original. I've got a 90 that's a really nice car that's got low miles that I drive. It has like 17,000 miles on it. But I put some bolt-on performance things on that car over the years, exhaust and things like that. And we took and we polished every bit of this up. They're almost like chrome, but this car, no, I'm not going to do that, because it needs to stay the way it's supposed to be. And this car's exactly how it's supposed to be. And so, this represents one of the most rare ZR1s, because of the black red interior, and being just a low production final year car, and with the AL Dunn heads on both sides. So it really, I can't think of a more rare collector version of a ZR1 that you could get. This is kind of the pinnacle of a ZR1 when it comes to production numbers, desirability, and just great color combination. Black red is, I mean, you can't argue with that. It's beautiful. And the license plate there, that actually, I bought that from a guy in Oregon. This doesn't go to this car. This car's never been registered. And he bought a 95 brand new, and he had that on his car, and sold the car, I don't know, pick a year, 2000 or whatever, and just kept the plate. And so I got that plate from him and put it on this because it's pretty much appropriate. But car's actually never been to Oregon. It's been in Arizona and now Dallas. So it's kind of its life. But under my ownership, it'll really never leave this building or property, and it'll be maintained. And come over here, I've got 4 of these ZR1s in the C4 version. So only one of them is kind of a driver, and it's a black one. And I've got some rare dye mags on it, and it's a really nice car. But this is kind of the most rare of all of them I have. I'll send some more videos to YouTube later when I take other parts of it and link them to my website. But thanks for watching.